Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Talks with the ARC Trust webinar series. My name is Sarah Geis, and I am the Senior Director of Engagement for the ARC Master Trust, a program of the ARC of Indiana. I want to thank you all for watching our webinar series. And as a reminder, all of our webinars are recorded and available on our website to view or share at any time. To view other webinars in this series, you can visit thearctrust.org and click on the webinar and videos button in the banner. In today's webinar, we will be talking about first-party special needs trusts, including how they can be funded, how they can be used, and some examples of when someone might need to establish a first-party special needs trust. In one of our previous webinars, we discussed some of the basics about special needs trusts. To recap, a special needs trust is a way for individuals receiving government benefits like SSI or Medicaid to be able to save money without impacting their eligibility for government benefits. The person for whom the trust is established is called the beneficiary. The beneficiary is the individual who is quite literally benefiting from the funds held in a special needs trust. For certain government benefits, there are limits on the amount of financial assets a person can have and remain eligible for those benefits. This is sometimes known as a resource or asset limit. A special needs trust is shielded, meaning that the funds that are held in that special needs trust are not considered as a financial asset when determining Medicaid, SSI, or other government benefit eligibility. Special needs trusts are also a way to better an individual's quality of life. The benefits that the individual receives will still be able to be used to provide for the care and support that they are designed to. A special needs trust is then able to support other needs or wants that the beneficiary has in their life. There are rules set forth by Medicaid, Social Security, and other government agencies that a special needs trust is required to follow to ensure that the funds in the trust do not impact the beneficiary's benefit eligibility. One of the primary rules is that the trust can only be used for the sole benefit of the beneficiary, and that the trust is managed by a person or an organization that is known as the trustee. There are two types of special needs trusts known as third party and first party. And today we will be discussing first party special needs trusts. So a first party special needs trust is a trust that allows for the beneficiary to be able to save their own financial resources without impacting their government benefits. Often, a first party special needs trust offers individuals a way to save for their future. And it is a way for Medicaid, Social Security, and other government benefits to still support the beneficiary in the ways that they are currently, while also ensuring that funds are able to be saved for the future and to be used for the things that that person might want or need. A first-party special needs trust can be established at any time. Usually, when someone's considering setting up a first-party special needs trust, it's because the beneficiary is close to going over their SSI or Medicaid resource limit, and they need to move the funds into a trust in order to maintain their benefits. An individual could also set up a trust in advance because they know they're going to be receiving a lump sum of funds that will need to go into the trust. Other times, a trust can be established as a part of a savings plan, where the beneficiary can contribute to it over time to be used to save up for larger purchases or to have as an emergency fund for the future. A first-party trust can be established by the beneficiary themselves or a select group of others. A parent, grandparent, or guardian of the beneficiary can also establish a special needs trust for that person. It is important to remember that even though an individual might receive support from another person in setting up a first-party special needs trust, only the beneficiary's own financial assets can be deposited into that trust. If someone has a first-party trust and they are under the age of 65, The beneficiary can continue to make deposits into the trust with their own money. If the beneficiary is over the age of 65, additional deposits can be made depending on the type of trust that they have, private or pooled. In a private trust, this is when a trust is established through a bank or an attorney, additional deposits cannot be made past 65. In a pooled special needs trust, where the trust is established through a nonprofit organization like the Ark Master Trust, additional deposits can be made at any time. In the last slide, I mentioned that there are other individuals that can set up a first-party special needs trust: parents, grandparents, and guardians. There are times where we are contacted by a representative payee who will ask if they can set up a first-party trust for the individual for whom they are the rep payee for. Per Social Security regulations, while representative payees can deposit Social Security funds into a special needs trust, representative payees cannot establish a special needs trust for their payee to deposit their Social Security funds. But oftentimes, a rep payee needs a trust set up to protect their payee's benefits. What can be done in this instance? Well, the representative payee can work with the beneficiary, their parent, grandparent, or guardian to establish that trust. The beneficiary, parent, grandparent, or guardian can establish the first party trust, and from there, once it's established, the representative payee can make deposits into the trust that has been established. One misconception that I hear when I work with folks on setting up first-party trusts is that once it is set up, that means that the beneficiary's Social Security funds will then automatically be deposited into the trust every month. This is not the case. The way that the beneficiary's Social Security is being deposited will continue to be done in the same way it is now after the trust has been established. If the Social Security funds are being deposited into a bank account, that will remain the same. If an individual has a representative payee, the funds will first be deposited into the representative payee account. Those funds, once they have been deposited into the bank account or into the representative payee account, can then be transferred and deposited into the trust. But either the beneficiary or their representative payee would need to deposit those funds into the trust. A trust can pay for a wide variety of expenses, and this can range from a number of regular routine expenses like a phone bill or cable bill, and they can also pay for entertainment, hobbies, travel, and other extras that better an individual's quality of life. The funds that are held in a special needs trust can only be used for the needs of the beneficiary. What's listed here are examples of how a special needs trust can be used, and this list is not all-inclusive. The specific benefits a person receives can impact what a trust can pay for. If the trust beneficiary receives SSI, or Supplemental Security Income, their trust would be hesitant to pay for shelter expenses. This is defined as rent or a mortgage payment, basic utilities like water, gas, electric, heat, trash, and sewage. This is because SSI says that an individual's SSI payment should be paying for shelter expenses. If a special needs trust were to pay for shelter costs for an individual who is receiving SSI benefits, it could cause a reduction of what the beneficiary receives from SSI by up to 1/3. This is called an in-kind support reduction. It does not impact the individual's SSI eligibility, but it can impact the amount that they receive from Social Security each month. Some individuals with SSI who have trusts find that the benefit of the trust paying for shelter costs outweighs that in-kind support reduction. If this is a situation that would apply to a trust beneficiary that you know, or you, if you are an individual who has a first-party special needs trust, you can talk to your trustee about what your options are in this instance. The in-kind support reduction also only applies to individuals who receive SSI. If you are receiving SSDI, Social Security Retirement, or other Social Security benefit, your special needs trust can pay for shelter expenses without seeing a reduction of your Social Security benefit. As you're thinking about how the beneficiary, or you, if you are the intended trust beneficiary, envisions your trust being used, it would be beneficial to talk to a trustee or organization about your benefits and how you envision the funds being used, and if the trust could impact your benefits. In a first-party special needs trust, federal law requires that any funds left in a first-party special needs trust must go back to the state to reimburse the state for Medicaid funds spent on that person. If any funds are left after Medicaid has been reimbursed, funds can then pass on to a secondary beneficiary that the trust beneficiary named. This law is sometimes known as Medicaid payback or Medicaid estate recovery. So how do you go about establishing a trust for yourself or for someone else? To start establishing a special needs trust, you can choose to set one up privately with an attorney. And if you go this route, you would also select who the trustee of this trust is going to be. You could also choose to establish the trust through a nonprofit known as a pooled trust. In this instance, the trustee would be that nonprofit organization. The attorney or the organization will be able to assist you in ensuring that you have correctly established the trust for yourself. If you are over the age of 65 due to Medicaid regulations in Indiana, establishing a trust with a pooled trust organization would be the only option. Now, here are some examples of individuals who might be needing to look at a first-party special needs trust. In this first instance, we have a parent of a 27-year-old individual who just received an unexpected inheritance from a family. In this instance, the 27-year-old is eligible to set up a first-party special needs trust, either privately through an attorney or with a nonprofit organization. The 27-year-old could themselves establish that trust for their own benefit, or they could have assistance by having their parent help them in establishing that trust. From there, the inheritance that they received could be deposited into that first-party trust. In this second individual, we have a 67-year-old who received a lawsuit settlement. Because of their age in Indiana, the 67-year-old's option would be to establish a first-party special needs trust with a pooled trust organization known as a nonprofit pooled special needs trust. Once the trust is set up with that nonprofit, the proceeds from the lawsuit settlement can then be deposited into that first-party trust for that individual. In this third instance, we have a representative payee who is not the parent, grandparent, or guardian of an individual who just received a large Social Security back payment. In this instance, the representative payee could work with the individual, their parent, grandparent, or potential guardian to establish that first-party special needs trust. From there, the representative payee can deposit that Social Security back payment into the trust. Thank you all again for watching, and we hope that you've found this informative. If you have questions or would like to learn more, please feel welcome to visit us at our website, email us, or give us a call. You're also welcome to join us on social media to learn more.